There's really two types of SaaS businesses to drive growth. One is marketing driven, the other is sales driven. Marketing driven is typically bottoms up, where you get a bunch of users to do trials and then maybe down the line you put in a salesperson. Or maybe you don't, maybe they just keep adding more users. A sales driven one is where you go top down. You figure out exactly the customers that should be buying, you approach them and you sell top down and essentially drive a transformation using your SaaS software in that customer's company. Today, I'm going to be focusing on sales-driven SaaS businesses. When you're actually building a sales-driven SaaS business, your ACVs are higher, your churn is way lower. You can actually grow a lot faster and be a lot more surgical about it. But if you're going to build a go-to-market sales strategy for a sales-driven SaaS business, there's some things you need to know and there's some pitfalls you need to avoid. And that's what we're going to go into in this episode. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. If you are new to this channel, welcome. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon because I drop an episode like this 3 times a week with the TK energy. If you are already part of our community, our growing community, if you are part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching program, welcome back. It's really great to see you over here. I will never forget the time I was running Tout App and we were doing our transition from having a self-service business to a truly sales-driven business. It was when we raised our Series A where we kind of had both working, and it was very clear that if we were going to drive growth and be a lot more purposeful about it, we needed to go top down and we needed to be sales driven. Now here's the thing. I know that product-led growth is all the rage. It depends. It depends on who you're selling to. It depends on what your product is. Depending on that, you're gonna have to pick whether you're gonna be a marketing-driven business or a sales-driven business. And for us, we were selling to sales teams and we knew that every single major sales team needed our software. So we were like, let's not wait for individual salespeople to try us out and maybe we'll get a deal. Let's go top down, drive the transformation, do 6-figure deals, 7-figure deals, and let's actually paint the town tout blue, as we called it. And in that transformation, in that transition to going to sales driven, I learned a few things about how to actually create a go-to-market sales strategy. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through the 5 key principles that you need to know as you're doing this. If you're excited to dig in, go ahead and smash that like button and let's dive right into it. So firstly, when it comes to your sales engine, your sales team, your sales process, your sales machine, whatever you want to call it, your sales strategy, you first need to really decide on what your structure is going to be. Now, you can have a team where it's an inside sales team. You can have a hybrid where they're part inside and then sometimes they actually go out to visit the customer. And other times you can have an enterprise or field team. How do you decide? The way you decide is you figure out what your deal sizes are. If you're selling a 5K deal, 5K a year, then you should not be visiting your customers. Literally, your CAC to LTV ratio, your customer acquisition cost to LTV is going to be completely screwed up. You literally cannot afford that level of service for sales and be profitable on a unit basis. So that means that you probably have to be inside. And even then, if it's sub 10K, you probably have to be marketing driven. But let's just say you're between a 20K a year deal to a 250K a year deal. In that case, you're probably going to have an inside sales team. An inside sales team means that the salespeople stay inside the office or their home. And these days, they do Zoom calls and they sell on the phone, and that's how they close deals. You don't need to get on a plane. You don't need to pay for travel. You don't need to wine and dine them. Now, if you get above 250K, let's just say you're going from 250K to like 500K, then you start to see hybrid. Hybrid is most of the deal is done. And I put this as 100K, it kind of varies and you'll have to get a feel for it. But with hybrid, the most of the deal is done over Zoom and over a phone call. But then you'll also go out there as the deal gets closer because you'll find that unless you show up and have a meeting, you really can't close the deal. And that's essentially when you get hybrid. And then you get into, your 250, 500K plus deals. When you start to get into these deal sizes, no one is really going to write you a check or sign a purchase order or do a DocuSign or fill out a form unless they meet you. It's too much money. It's a huge budget. Someone could lose their job if they make the wrong decision. In this case, you're going to have an enterprise or a field sales team. So the reason I start here is it's not obvious what kind of sales team you need for your target customers, for how much you're charging, what your deal sizes are. And so you need to figure out whether you're going to be inside, hybrid, or enterprise or field. You also need to figure out if salespeople themselves are going to be responsible for prospecting, meaning they're going to find their own leads, or are they going to rely on marketing? And sometimes you may not be able to rely just on marketing, in which case you may also hire SDRs. Now, a lot of times founders will say, well, I'm going to hire SDRs, I'm going to hire salespeople. And I'll always like, well, hang on a second, because what you need to do, and I didn't think about this originally until I learned the hard way, what you need to do is think about the cost of a salesperson, a cost of an SDR, that's the salary, right? Plus the commission. You need to think about what their quota is. You need to make sure if a salesperson, let's just say he or she makes $250K a year, and the SDR makes another $60K. So that's $260K. You need to make sure they have at least $1 million quota, and they actually are likely to hit that quota. Otherwise, you're going to lose a ton of money paying salespeople, because you also have to remember, not every salesperson is going to be successful. So this is why you need to start thinking upfront about, how much are you charging and what's the right sales model for this. Depending on the size of your deals, you may not be able to afford an enterprise field rep, or you may not be able to afford an SDR. And those are things that you need to figure out. Now, there's no right or wrong answer here. It just depends on whether you're selling the mid-market or the enterprise and the deal sizes, and based on that, you'll have to decide and optimize for it. And it's important to do this upfront instead of just hiring random salespeople. Because the other thing is, if you try and get an enterprise field rep to do an inside sales selling job, it's going to be a disaster. So it's good to know what your model is, and therefore you can hire the right people for that model so that they're going to be more likely to succeed. Okay, so that's principle number one. Principle number two, I want to talk a little bit around commission structure. You'll have to figure out a commission structure. Salespeople are coin operated. I don't say this in a derogatory way. I say this as a fact. Literally, they are in it for the commission. People go into sales not because they can earn a cushy, nice little base salary. They're entrepreneurs in a way. They want the upside. They want the commission. They want to drive fancy cars and have nice watches, or if they're not into those fancy things, they want to send their kids to really great colleges. So commission structures are going to be really, really important. So the first thing I always tell founders, especially in the early stage, and I had to get comfortable with this because it was really weird for me at first. I was like a founder, and pretty soon, like, my salespeople were making way more money than I was making, like on a year-by-year basis. So the first thing is, if you are successful, your salespeople will make more money. They will just make more money than you in a given year. You'll be like, wow, I still get this really shitty base salary as a CEO because we're early, but they're taking home bacon. It's like, yes, that's normal. That's successful. What you need to realize is the more money they take home, the more the value of your stock is going to appreciate. Meaning, if they're making a ton of money, that means they're closing a ton of deals. If they're closing a ton of deals, that means that your stock is going up, and stock is what you're in it for as founders. So it might be jarring, but just know you got to do your commission plan right, and your salespeople will make more money than you, and you just got to get comfortable with that because you're in it for the long game. Salespeople, they may come and go. They may stay with you. You don't know, but that's the whole point of it. The second thing is, and I did this at ToutApp, you just got to go for a very aggressive commission structure. In the early days of ToutApp, I gave a 20% commission on every dollar that came in. Every dollar that came in, 20% went to the sales rep. And the reason I did that was because we were early, we had no brand, but we needed great salespeople. And there was no way we were going to get qualified salespeople, good salespeople, unless we gave them a really, really aggressive commission structure. And because we gave them a really aggressive commission structure, we got better salespeople, we got great people, and because of that, we were able to close deals and grow. And so it's super important for you to figure out how aggressive you can get on your commission plan. Don't get stingy. Don't get offended if they make more money. That's success because your stock will be appreciating. The last thing that I learned, and this I learned from working with a lot of VPs of sales. At ToutApp, we sold to VPs of sales, so I learned a lot of the tricks of the trade, was to have a monthly cadence with kickers. So if you're doing enterprise $1 million deals, it's impossible to do a monthly cadence. You're hoping for the best. But anything sub of that, you should try for a monthly or a quarterly cadence. And what I did, one of the things I did in the early days, because our deal sizes were like 50K, we could do it. We're like, look, you have a monthly quota. If you hit your monthly quota the first month, then you get 20% on every dollar. If you hit it the second month, if you also hit your monthly quota, then you're gonna get 22% on every dollar on that second month. If you hit it for the third month, you have 3 months of hitting quota. On that third month, you will earn 25% of every dollar. What this did was it stacked up performance. It made sure that no one sandbagged deals. It gave them incentive to close as many deals as possible every month and hit quota. And they saw if they kept performing every month and just got into that habit, they would make more money and more money and more money. And inherently, it actually paid off because it put everyone in a really, really aggressive cadence. The year we did this, we grew like 300%. It was incredible. We went from $1 million to $3 million and then raised our Series B. So this is super powerful. Think about the compensation structure, get used to them making more money than you. That's just, it's good. It's net good because your equity is just gonna be worth more, and that's what you want ultimately. So a lot of this compensation plan and structure and how much you can afford, a lot of this on whether you can have an enterprise team, it's really tied to your pricing model. Your pricing model is super important because that dictates how much you can afford to spend on sales and marketing to acquire a customer, right? So this is why your pricing model is super important. So I did a video you can check out here. You don't have to go right now. I'll link to it below. It's exactly how to create a pricing strategy for your SaaS business. Really get the knobs and levers right so you have the proper pricing strategy, which will then allow you to have the type of sales team and marketing team that you can afford to get those customers. Super important. I'll link to it below. You can check it out at the end of this video. So once you have those two things in place, that's kind of setting the table. Now it's like, okay, what's for dinner, right? Like how do you actually, what's the content of all this? So that's when the third thing you really need to figure out is your sales contracts. Like what kind of sales contracts do you do? I did a YouTube live last week with my attorney, my transactional attorney, who's also my brother. SaaS to serve a family business. He's an attorney for SaaS companies, and he focuses on transactional law. And we talked about legal agreements and SaaS sales contracts. You can check that video out over here. We'll go into details on how all that stuff works. But you'll have to figure out what your contracts are. Your master services agreement, your sales contracts, your order forms. Do you send out a proposal? Do you just fill out a link? There's a bunch of nuances here and you'll need to figure that out. So check out that video, we talk about it. You'll also need to figure out your sales script and you have to figure out your sales process. You know, there's gonna be a certain way that people discover you. Like you might run a discovery call, then you might run a demo, then you might talk to these people, and then you have to get to stakeholders, you have to go through security review and legal review. Every market is different, but your buyers will buy a certain way. You'll start to see patterns. It'll be super important for you to lay out this exact ideal flow. And for every deal, you want to make sure that you get ahead of what are all the things that you need to get done. That's essentially your sales process, your sales script. And so you'll want to actually kind of lay that out and almost like engineer that to optimize for the customer experience, but also a speedy close because you don't want deals dragging on forever. One of the key things around this is to think about how to give a really great demo, right? As you're going through your sales process, like the discovery call is important. And inside of my go-to-market program, we actually give you resources on exactly how to run sales calls. But one of the things you might also be thinking about is like, how do I give a demo? So you can check out this video where I tell you how to give a really compelling demo that increases sales. I'll link to it below. You don't have to go right now, but that's also important. So anyway, step one, figure out the structure of the team. Step two, think about the compensation plan. Step three, lay out the process, and all those deeper videos I'll link to below so you can check those out. We're gonna be spending a lot of time together. Okay, now before I go to 4 and 5, let me just pause here for a second. If you're starting to see the power in this on how to really create your go-to-market sales strategy, just by doing some of these things, getting the commission right, thinking about the sales process, getting the demo right, thinking about the structure of your sales. If you're starting to see, oh my God, this is exciting, and we can really grow our business and sales if we get the strategy right. Can I just get a yes in the comments below? Also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just means the world to me and my team. Please do that. Also, if you are building out a SaaS business, you're building out your go-to-market machine, your sales strategy, your marketing strategy, and you want a framework to follow, you want a step-by-step process, and you want coaching, you want a partner that's been there, done that, I invite you to check out my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. I will work with you to actually build out your go-to-market strategy and grow your SaaS business faster. I'll link to the details below. I'll tell you more about it at the end of the video. Let's go to step number 4. Step number 4 is you got to figure out your sales deck and your strategic narrative. This is the most important thing. Everything else is just like setting up the right structure. This is the meat of it. Why should someone pay attention to you? Why is this a compelling thing? Why now? Why should they choose you? And what is the big problem you're fixing? What is the big macro trend that proves that this is a problem worth fixing? This all goes into your sales deck and your strategic narrative. There's always this question in the early stages, like who's responsible for the sales deck? Is it marketing? Is it the sales leader? Is it the CEO? And this may be a controversial answer, but I think ultimately it's the CEO. Because in the early stages, the sales deck is going to be a little fluid, but you got to get the narrative, and the narrative is set by the CEO. Yes, marketing can actually massage it, make it better. Yes, the sales leader will be like, no one talks like that. I'm not saying those words. I'm going to put it in simpler words. Like, yes, all of those are true. But your strategic narrative, like the core reason why a customer must buy now and why they need to take action, all of that stuff comes together by the CEO. And so you got to own that, your strategic narrative. And I call this a manifesto. If you want to learn more about how to create a manifesto, I have an overview video. You can check that out here. But I have to be honest, manifesto, like strategic narrative is very specific work. And we do this inside of the go-to-market program step by step. That's a big part of it in my coaching program. But you can check out that video to get a taste of how to go about creating your manifesto. I'll link to it below. Once you have all those things in place, you have your core sales process down. Those are the core things you really have to flesh out. The fifth thing that you need to think about is, where do you get leads? Like, ultimately, you're going to need leads. You can have an entire sales team. Maybe you'll have SDRs, but if you don't have a strategy on how to get more leads, none of this will work. Your salespeople will starve. Your company will die. You'll have to pay them their base. It's terrible. There's one point where I had this and it was horrible. Like, you never want to end up there. So you need to figure out how to partner with marketing. And there's a natural evolution to this. At first, you'll just be talking about leads. But as you really build that partnership, you'll start talking about what's a marketing qualified lead and a sales qualified lead. A marketing qualified lead is a lead that marketing looks at and says, you know what, they should be buying. And sales qualified lead is when sales looks at it and says, yep, marketing's right. They're not just generating crappy leads, which they always say they do, which is why SDR teams exist, because sales wants to own how they generate leads. But they'll look at it and they'll say, yeah, this is a sales qualified lead. We think there's an opportunity here. And they'll convert it to an opportunity after they've talked to them, after marking it as a sales qualified lead. And then finally, if they truly partner, marketing and sales truly partners, then you start running more of an account-based marketing strategy. And I'm a big believer in ABM. You start running an ABM strategy where you say, look, let's not just wait for leads to come in and say if they're marketing qualified or sales qualified. Let's together, marketing and sales, talk about who are the 100 customers we want to go after and figure out a go-to-market strategy, go after them so that we can feed them into this sales process. So if you want to learn more about how to create an ABM strategy, we teach this in the go-to-market program, but I have an overview on it. Check out this video where we go into why ABM is important and why it's the fastest way for you to grow your SaaS business. I'll link to it below, don't worry. So those are the 5 key principles to build out your go-to-market sales strategy. Number 1, figure out what the structure of the team is going to be. Number 2, figure out the compensation plan. Get comfortable with the fact that your successful salespeople will be driving nicer cars and making more money for you, but your stock is going up and it's all about the long game. Number 3, your sales contracts, sales script, sales process, get that all in place. This is super important. Engineer this, get very focused on this. Check out that video on doing demos. I'll link to it below. Number 4, create your strategic narrative, which translates into your sales deck and many other things. And number 5, partner with marketing and run an ABM strategy. You do these things, you will accelerate the growth of your SaaS business. If you saw the power in this, if you haven't smashed that like button already, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just means a lot to me and my team as well. If you are building out your go-to-market machine and you're building out a sales strategy, a marketing strategy, you want to get all this stuff together and you want the step-by-step framework to follow and my coaching as someone that's been there, done that, then I invite you to check out my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. Just go to tkkader.com/GTM. In there, you can apply to join the program. It's not for everyone. We want to make sure it's the right fit for you and we can actually help you. You can apply to join. We'll get on a call. We'll talk through it and we'll bring you on if we think we can help you grow faster. It's a step-by-step process. A lot of these videos that I do, and I link to a bunch of these videos that tell you more about some of the details I talked about. I talk about why you need to do something, what you need to do. Inside of the program, I give you exclusive training on how to do it, the step-by-step, which is not as interesting for YouTube, but super interesting when you're in that mode of like, let's go build it. I want a framework to follow. So I'll link to some more of those videos that I mentioned down below. And I'll also link to the SaaS go-to-market coaching program if you want to fast track your way to building a scalable go-to-market machine. I'd love to work with you if you're the right fit. So go ahead in there, check out all the details and fill out the application form and we can get on a call to discuss. If you got value from this video, smash that like button. I drop a video like this 3 times a week to help you grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified when I drop an episode. Also, if you have fellow SaaS founders that would get value from this, members of your team, please share this video, have them like it, have them share it. It just means the world to us. We put a lot of love into these videos. I'm having a great time doing these videos, having a great time working with my clients and my coach. This is just awesome, and I love you guys. I truly do. That wasn't in the script, but I just needed to say it. So please share. It just means the world to us. Our community is growing, and we want to impact as many SaaS business owners and founders as possible. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business, but when you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode.